Hello again, welcome to the second video tutorial on how to use PySawit Web. In the first video tutorial, you learned how to register your account. In this second video tutorial, we'll go into deeper details and most importantly, how to run your all-pump growth and yield model through your web browser. So without further ado, let's open up www.pysawitweb.com as shown here, and you will see the login screen like this. The first task is to enter your login details, your username. In my case is guest, but please enter your own, and then your password. Then enter or click the login button. When you click after login, you will see a rather minimal screen like this, where it does not show any run files, no run files. Run files refer to your model input files. Because this is the first time you're using, there are no files to be listed. So we need to create a model input file by clicking on this button here, new. So new is to create a model input file. And this is your newly created model input files. This model input file contains many model parameters. To make things easy, it is all grouped into categories like here. The control category, the metrology category, the group category, the energy balance category, and the soil water category. Now you'll notice that to make things easy, you click on this. It opens up the group. It acts like an accordion. You click again, it will collapse. You click on the metrology, it opens up. And the metrology group has subgroups like here. So there is limited, I think the maximum is to 3. So you can click and to open and collapse. So it toggles. And you go to the crop. Likewise, the crop has model parameters as well as subgroups. So as you can see, there are many model parameters here. And so on. Energy balance and soil water. So there are many model parameters, each into their respective groups. Now there are three buttons that are important. Is this collapse all, expand all, and cancel. Clicking on collapse all will collapse all the accordion. Clicking on the expand all will expand all, and on the X will will cancel and return to the main menu. So let's click on the collapse button here. So it collapses everything. Click on the expand. It will open up all, including all the various subgroups. Clicking X, which I will not do, but you click on this, it will cancel what you have entered, go back to the return screen without saving or without creating the input file. Now there's another button here. This is the toggle button. This opens up the sidebar. Let's click on that. Let me collapse the button, collapse all first. I'm now clicking the toggle button here or here. It does not matter. They all function the same. As you can see, it opens up the toggle. You click on this again, collapse, clicking it out again, it opens up, and so on. Now this is a tree-like view. You can think of it like a table of contents showing you every model parameter there is grouped into their various category. So if for instance, I like to enter the weather file name here, you click on the weather file name, it will open up the weather file name like here. You can see hidden behind the menu, there's a weather file name here. The sidebar is still open, but it brings you up to this weather file name. So let's go to the soil properties. Let's say I want to look at the model parameters for soil layer 1, like here. So I will click on that soil layer 1 name, and then it brings up the soil layer 1 properties here. Again, the sidebar is not closed. So if I wish to close I can click on the X here. I can click on this X here. So let me click. It closes. So it's still soil layer 1. And the sidebar has disappeared. Let's open up again. So the difference is, let's go to the name of run. Here. If I just click name of run, it will go to the name of run model parameter without closing the sidebar. But if I click the X at the end of the name of run, it will go to the name of run and then close the sidebar. So this time I will click on the X at the name of run link. See, now the name of run is here and the sidebar is gone. So this sidebar is just a quick way to navigate. You can click on the model parameters that you wish to check to make, for instance, you want to quickly see whether they have the right values, or you want to check whether there's any wrong entries. So it navigates very quickly. But once the X at the end, like soil layer 3, it will go to soil layer 3, like here, and then close the menu. Just clicking on soil layer 3 will go to soil layer 3 without closing the sidebar. But if you click on the X, it will go to the soil layer 3 and close the sidebar. So the sidebar is closed, and oops, and the soil layer 3 is here. So let's go right to the top and open up all. So there are a lot of model parameters, but this does not mean that you need to enter the values for every model parameter every time you run. There's no need. You only change values that are needed and use the default values for those that you do not need or do not need to change. So there's no need to enter all, because there's a lot of model parameters. You only change those that is required. Please refer to the PySarwit web report to see the equations, to see a deeper explanation of each of the model parameters. But I just want to highlight some of the model parameters that are required. The first is the name of run. The name of run here. The name of run. This is the brief description, or you can call it your file name. But again, it does not mean it is much more than just a file name. The simulation days. This is 7,300 days. This is equivalent to 20 years. So 365 times 20 is 7,300 days. This is the maximum number of days that you can use, 7,300. So if you wish to simulate only for 10 years, it is 3,650. 365 times 10 years, or 365 for only 1 year. The third is the seed. Now this needs a bit of explanation. If you see the seed value, this is a rather large value. You enter negative values and the model will behave like a stochastic model, where every time you run the model, even though you're using the same values, the output is slightly different because it has the random values change. But if you enter a positive number like what you have done here, then the same random values are always used. So it doesn't. So every time you run your model, as long as the model input is the same, the model results will always be the same. You can enter 1, you can enter 2, it doesn't matter. For instance, if I were to enter 1, so every time I run this model, I will always get the same values. If I enter 2, the results will be different than number 1, where the seed is number 1. But every time I run the model with seed value 2, you will always give me the same results. If I put 20, again, different random values are generated, and they will give you slightly different results than seed number 1, seed number 2, and so on. But 20 will always give you the same model results. But if you enter negative value, whether it's negative 1, negative 100, does not matter. As long as it's a negative value, the model results will always be different, even though the model input values have not changed. And the rest, and the other model parameter that I wish to highlight is the weather data source, like here. weather data source. In this case, we are simulating the weather. That means no weather file is used, but weather is generated. You can use weather file if you have a weather file, but if you use a weather file, you're required to enter the weather file name. Now there's no weather file name here because we have not uploaded any weather file. Please refer to video tutorial 3 in order to learn how to use our weather file. But in this case, we do not have any weather file, so we have to use simulate weather. And then once you have entered all the values or entered the values that you require, then you go right to the bottom and you click the save button. This will save. You can click the save button anytime. It will save your model input values. The run is to save your values and then run the model. Cancel is to discard any changes since the last saved. So if you click cancel, you go back to the main menu, but we will not do that. We will click save, and you return to the top. It will tell you the run model has been successfully saved. So let's give our name of run a better one. Let's call it first run. And you can collapse all and save the model. Now you will see that the name has changed. First run successfully saved. So you can save it like this, you can save it, and you can enter a seed number, some 9,000, and save it. Alright, so if there's any error, it will highlight to you before saving. For instance, simulation days, I mentioned that we are limited to 20 years or 7,300. Let's extend it. Let's try it for 73,000. Let's say we have mistakenly entered another additional 0, and if we try to save it, it will give you this error message you see here. So error, simulation days, number of simulation days must be between 1 and 700. So if you click on this link, it will bring you to the problem area. So it brings you here. So you need, and it tells you number of simulation days, repeats the error. Number of simulation days must be between 1 and 7,300. So make your corrections and save. So there's no error message. So everything is, the model input values are correct. For instance, if your salt water yes, this is a good time to bring your salt water content. You can enter your salt water according to your volumetric salt water content between 0 and 1, but there are some special values where you can enter -1. It doesn't mean -1 volumetric, but it's a special code to mean -1 means for saturation for that particular salt texture. If you enter -1, it will calculate the volumetric water content for saturation. If you enter -2, it is the fill capacity, so the volumetric water content at fill capacity. And if you enter -3, it will be for permanent wilting point. So in this case, it is -2 right here. So this is the water content, volumetric water content for fill capacity. Now let's enter some nonsensical value. Let's say 9, and we try to save it. It gives you an error message. Soil layer 1, initial water content must be -3 and 1. So we click on this and it will bring us to the problem area. So -2, like so. So -2, right? Okay, then save. Now once you're saved, you can run, or you can return. When you click run, now it tells you a message. Let me read it out. Due to intensive model calculations, it is not possible to immediately run the model, as this may cause the server to time out. Instead, a request will be created so the model can be run in the background. When the run is completed, you'll be notified in the model results page. Now this is because the model run is very computation intensive. It requires about a minute, half a minute to a minute. Now this might be a short time on our own desktop or PC, but on a server, on a web page, half a minute to 1 minute is actually very long, and it may cause timeout, cancelling the model run. So what this is once we click confirm that we wish to run it, you will be put in a waiting list, a sort of a queue. So the server will run the model in the background, and it will process every model input as it comes in order of entry. So the first model that goes in, it will be run, second model, so on and so forth. So it runs it in a sequential manner according to the queue. Now this can take from a half a minute to a minute, but if there's lots of requests, for instance many users who put in a lot of model simulations, this may take some time. So this is just to warn us that we will not get the model results immediately, not in the way that we are used to if we run it in our own computer. We will have to put in a request, put it into the queue, and then we have to wait for the results when it's completed. So we will click yes, run, and then let me read. The request has been created. That means our model file input has been put into the queue, and model will begin in the background. Model run. When the run is completed, you'll be notified in the model results page. Now this can take several minutes. It depends again on how many requests the server has to handle. If we are the only one, we should get it in about a minute or two. But if there are many requests, then it may take longer. The more requests there are, the longer it may take. So let's return.